this time around, I was dealing with things and I was able to handle them way differently than I might have, 4 or 5 years ago.
Why is mental health so hard to talk about? Why is mental health so hard to overcome? These are the questions that I will continue to discuss in this third part of my mental health series. I have already dedicated 2 parts to this topic, so feel free to check those out after watching this. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description. However, you do not need to watch those 2 before this one, because this part is 3 new angles to answering these questions. This will, however, be my final part for this specific topic, but I am just getting started with discussing mental health, so stick around until the end because I'll talk a little bit more about where I'm going next. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like, and as always, leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. Okay, let's begin. Mental health is extremely hard to openly discuss with others, but what happens when you don't even know how to talk about it? What happens when you can't define or explain what's going on inside your head? One of the biggest problems about overcoming mental health is that most people haven't been educated on the subject itself. This is bigger than school guidance counselors. There is a difference between saying it's about opening up and letting your feelings out, and these are the triggers/symptoms for anxiety. And I'm not blaming guidance counselors for this, but there needs to be more education present to teach people the things they need to know. For example, I dealt with thought loops for 2 years before I heard the term in a YouTube video. For this story, check out part 2 of this series. Once I heard the term, everything clicked and I gradually was able to work on methods to overcome this problem. And as of writing this, I would say I've made pretty good progress. The point is, imagine if 2 years ago I already knew what thought loops were and had the knowledge to work on it the instant they started occurring. A lot of stress and struggle would have been avoided. On that same note, even if I had not experienced thought loops yet, learning about them would still have been useful. Although it's hindsight now, I'm saying that for you because this is where you come in. You owe it to yourself to take some time to research mental issues and learn the different types. Yes, people should be educating you, but for this situation, you may have to rely on your own discipline and curiosity to find the information. Trust me, learning about mental health will be an invaluable resource for 2 reasons. Even if you haven't experienced mental struggles before, you probably will one day. That's not to scare you, but it's the truth. With that said, being prepared and knowledgeable on the subject already will help you out incredibly. Even further, you could help others with your knowledge, either by sharing it or identifying something in somebody before they understand what's going on. Honestly, learning something in life never hurts, and with mental health, it is no different. Since mental health is an internal battle, making progress usually starts with you taking action on changing a part of you. But what if the real problem is on the outside? What if your environment is the main catalyst for creating and triggering mental issues? Environment is a very broad term, but you're probably already thinking of some examples. I would say it can be anything classified as something that influences how you live your life day to day. This could be home, school, work, family, friends, city, town, etc. Again, there are a ton of examples, and with that comes a huge problem. If just one of these is negatively affecting you, it could severely harm your mental health. Having a poor environment is good for no one, and fixing this problem can be incredibly hard, almost impossible. Look, I'm not going to paint a fairy tale like you can do X, Y, and Z, and magically your school life or work life or family is wonderful now. We all know that's a fantasy. But I will say that there are some effective actions you could take to do your best in trying to solve this problem for yourself. First, write down your environment, basically where you spend your day and who you spend your day with. Figure out which positively affect you and which are sources of negativity. For the negative ones, there might only be one way to fix it: speaking up. If, say, your family life is harming your mental health, tell your family that. I know it's easier said than done, but it's the only way to create change. Your family should acknowledge your words and try to help you, possibly by changing themselves. If they don't, then all I can say is that they're bad people. As for other cases, like school or work, which may be harder to get out of, try to create ways to avoid or distract yourself from the triggers that might pop up in these places. I know it is no easy task, but trying something is better than nothing. But what if there is one last alternative way of thinking about this? What if all this hardship is actually worth it in the grand journey of your life? Let's finish off this video by talking more about that question. This will be quite a detour from everything I've been talking about so far, but it's still worth putting out there. Now, I'm not saying that I want you to have problems in your life. This is if you already had or still have issues. What if it's for a purpose? It's a really tough question to think about, but is your suffering a necessary evil? Throughout these 3 parts, I focused on ways to get out of bad situations. What is a commonality among all of them? That you'll get out and overcome them. While it's hard to be in them today, the feeling of looking back in 5 years and saying to yourself, yeah, I got through that, look where I am now, might just be worth it. These periods of suffering teach you lessons on how to identify problems and come up with solutions through trial and error. You'll learn that constantly practicing a technique to fixing your mental health can be applied to other projects. You may not think about it like this, but your suffering now might just be what sets you up for long-term success whatever you set out to do in the future, because you'll be normalized to struggling and suffering in the beginning. Some people never experience hardship until the middle of their lives. Then, when it happens, they have no clue what to do and crumble. I would rather suffer now for a while and then reap the rewards of my learning and battling later, but that's just my opinion, and your take might be completely different. But know this, when you finally overcome your mental health problems, I want you to believe that you can do anything, because you've just beat one of the hardest challenges that anyone has to go through in life.
I think that was part of a little bit of the darkness, is that I had no guidance, truly. Everything, came from me, this drive.
I've echoed the need to spread mental health awareness in my 2 previous closings, and I will do the same here, but this time it will be a slightly different call to action. We need to normalize mental health checkups. Getting a mental health checkup should be viewed the same as getting a physical at a doctor's office. Honestly, it should be even more frequent than that. I would say that once someone reaches the age of 12 or 13, they should get a checkup, even if they have never experienced mental health issues. At the very least, a set of questions or a discussion would be acceptable. Let me know your thoughts on this idea or about anything else in the video down in the comments. As for the next video I'll be making, I've decided to move into focus on teenagers and why mental health is so prevalent in them. If you found this video to be in any way helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to keep up with the videos. As always, this has been Dark Horse, and I will see you in the next video.